Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for joining me today for another slow full body yoga stretch. And we're going to get started today in a nice, comfortable seated position. So I've just got my ankles crossed. You might like to come to that same place. And then if you feel like your hips are rounding back a little bit here, you might like to sit up onto a cushion or a block or something like that. But whatever seated position feels most comfortable for you. And then just resting the palms on the knees, sitting up nice and tall and closing down the eyes. And we'll start to bring our attention to the breath, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose, filling the body with air, and exhale out through the nose. Seeing if you can lengthen each breath, slowing it down. Just taking a moment of stillness. And then on your next exhale, see if you can melt the shoulders away from the ears, so dropping them down. Relaxing through the shoulders. Relaxing through the face, the eyebrows, and the jaw. Keeping those knees drawing down. And then on an exhale, we're going to drop the chin down towards the chest. And then really slowly moving with the breath, drawing some nice big circles with the nose. So seeing if you can sync the movement up with the breath, really slowing it down. Taking your time here. One way, and then back the other way. And then bringing the chin back down towards the chest and slowly lifting the head back up, gently blinking the eyes open. From here, we're going to interlace the fingers and press the palms away. And then on an inhale, we're going to start to reach the hands up and overhead. See if you can keep the shoulders drawing down here. So nice and active through the core and almost hugging the lower ribs down. So we're still sitting up nice and tall. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. And then you might like to find a little bit of movement here. So rocking side to side. Keep those shoulders down and away from the ears. Keeping the knees drawing down. You can keep the eyes closed here if you'd like to. Just finding some nice gentle movement. And then coming back to center, and on an exhale, we'll send the arms out to the side and bringing the fingertips back down to the mat. From here, we'll take a side body stretch. So planting the right palm and inhaling up and over with the left. So reaching over towards the right side of the room. Again, drop the shoulders. Keep that nice length through the spine. So rather than trying to get as low as you possibly can, see if you can find that nice length and then leaning over to the side. So it should feel like a nice gentle stretch here. You might find a nice little pulse through that right elbow, or you might bring that elbow all the way down to the mat. But again, see if you can keep that length through the spine. And you might like to look up here if it feels okay through the head and the neck. And then on an exhale, we'll come back up and through center. Take a roll of the shoulders before we take it to the other side. And then when you're ready, we'll plant the left palm and inhale up and over with the right hand. Again, find that nice gentle movement. Maybe coming all the way down if that feels okay through the side body, and you can keep that length through the spine. Nice and aware through the head and the neck here. So keep that left ear drawing away from the shoulder. We've got that nice long line from the top of the head right down to the tailbone. And you might like to look up here if it feels okay on this side. Staying with the breath. And then on an exhale, we'll make our way back up to center. Give the shoulders a roll. And then from here, we're going to find our eagle arms. So sending the arms out long in front of you, we're going to drop the right arm underneath the left and then see if you can bring the palms to meet together at the center. Again, we're going to try and keep the shoulders drawing down here and then lift the elbows. You should feel a nice opening through the shoulders here. Keeping that nice length through the spine, so sitting up nice and tall, we're still nice and active through the core, hugging those lower ribs down. So we lift the elbows. And on an exhale, we'll unravel. You might like to give the shoulders another roll here before we take it to the other side. And then when you're ready, we'll send both arms out long in front. And this time we're going to take the left arm underneath the right. See if you can wrap the arms around and let the palms meet together. Find that length through your spine, drop the shoulders, and then we press to lift the elbows and keep the hands pressing away from you as well. You might like to close down the eyes as you breathe here. Feeling that nice stretch through the shoulders. And then on an exhale, we'll unravel, give the shoulders another little roll here. And then slowly we're going to make our way into our tabletop. So coming onto all fours, stacking the shoulders above the wrists, the hip points above the knees. And just finding your alignment here. So draw the shoulders away from the ears, nice and active through the core. So hug the belly button back towards the spine and then flatten out through the spine. From here, we're going to move through a couple of rounds of cat-cow just to warm up the spine a little bit here. So on an inhale, we're going to start to curl the tailbone up and round through the belly. Making your way forward, we send the chest forward and then maybe look up if it feels okay through the head and the neck here. And then on an exhale, we'll curl the tailbone under, start to round through the spine. Press away through the arms and let the head drop down. Inhale, we curl the tailbone up. Drop through the belly, moving slowly up the spine, maybe looking forward. And exhale, we round through the spine. See if you can sync the movement up with the breath, starting at the tailbone and moving up the spine. And you can really slow down this movement here. Again, and close down the eyes if that feels comfortable, so that you can really go inward, check in with the body, check in with the mind. And while you're moving through your cat-cow, you might like to draw a couple of circles with the spine. Maybe just moving the hips from side to side, just stretch through the side body a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to make our way to our first downward facing dog of the practice. So make your way back to center, back to your tabletop. We're going to walk the hands forward just an inch or two, tuck the toes under, and then press to lift the knees away from your mat and send the hips back. See if you can get nice and long through the spine here. So bend the knees as much as you need to. Again, nice and active through the core. Hug the lower ribs down. Pedal out the feet, so breathing into the backs of the legs. We're pressing down into all 10 fingerprints, nice and long through the arms. Nice opening through the shoulders. And then finding stillness for just a breath here. When you're ready, we're going to bring the left foot to center and drop down through the left heel. On an inhale, we're going to find our three-legged dog. So lifting the right leg up, level out the hips. So draw that right hip down and then turn the right toes down towards your mat as well. On an exhale, we're going to hug that right knee in towards the chest and shift the weight forward on our hands. Step that right foot forward between your hands. We find our lunge here. We're going to drop the left knee and then bring the right hand to the inside of that right foot. So we've got both hands to the inside of the right foot. We're going to heel toe that right foot over to the right edge of our mat. And we're going to find our lizard lunge. So you can stay here. Otherwise, we're going to take it a little bit deeper. We're going to lift the right toes up and turn them out at about a 45-degree angle. And then you can start to roll onto the outside edge of that right foot. You can stay here on the fingertips or on the palms, or you might like to start to lower the chest down towards your mat a little bit here. You might come all the way down onto the forearms. You can keep those back toes tucked under, or you can untuck the toes here, so whatever feels most comfortable. Taking a moment to set yourself up here so that you can find stillness and take about 3 nice long deep breaths here. And this is quite an intense stretch, so anytime you feel like you need to come out of it a little bit, just tuning in with the body and being where you need to be today. And also just noticing where the mind wanders off to. You might notice that you start trying to distract yourself or thinking about other things. Just bringing the attention back to the breath. Breathing into the hips. We'll take one more breath here. And then slowly coming back up onto the palms if you're not there already. We're going to keep the legs exactly as they are, and we're going to find a quad stretch from our lizard lunge. So keeping the left palm down towards your mat, we're going to start to reach back towards that left foot with the right arm. So left palm stays on our mat, we're reaching back with the right hand, and you might just stay here reaching, or you might see if you can start to lift that foot away from your mat. And maybe you're just reaching today, but maybe if you can start to lift that foot away, you can catch a hold of it with your right hand and start to draw that foot in towards you. This will feel like a really deep stretch. So again, check in with the body, make sure it feels comfortable here. You shouldn't feel any sharp pinching. It should just feel like a really nice opening, a deep stretch through that left hip flexor and through the right glutes. One more breath here. And then we'll exhale that right hand back down to the mat. We're going to tuck the left toes under here and start to lift that left knee away from the mat. Send the weight into the hands so that you can step the right foot back to meet the left and find your downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet here, flattening out through the spine. You might like to send the legs into the air or take a couple of circles of the hips here. Just checking in, noticing how you feel on the left side compared to the right. And then we find stillness. And when you're ready, we'll take it to the other side. So we'll bring the right foot to center and drop through the right heel. Inhale to our three-legged dog. We lift that left leg, level out the hips and turn the left toes down. And then when you're ready, on an exhale, we'll hug that left knee in towards the chest, send the weight forward onto the hands, and then step that left foot forward between the hands. We're going to drop the right knee down and then bring that left hand to the inside of the left foot. Heel toe, that left foot over to the edge of your mat. And we'll find our lizard lunge variation here. So we'll lift the toes off the mat, turn them out at about a 45-degree angle, and then if it feels comfortable, you can roll onto the outside edge of that left foot. You can stay here on the fingertips or the palms, or again, see how you feel on this side. You might come all the way down to the forearms. You can keep the back toes tucked, or you might untuck them here. Just checking in on this side. Listening to the body and seeing if you can find stillness. Relaxing anywhere that you don't need to be holding, so you might be able to relax through the shoulders a little bit more here. Relax through the face and the jaw, relaxing the eyebrows. Inhaling, filling the body with air. And exhale, letting it go. And then gently we'll come back up onto the palms if you're not there already, and we'll find our quad stretch. So this time we'll keep the right palm planted down. We're going to start to reach back with the left arm, reaching back towards that right foot, and you might just stay here reaching, or you might check in on this side, see if you can start to lift that right foot away from your mat and draw it in towards you. Breathing deeply here, keeping that left shoulder drawing back. So we've got a little bit of a twist through the spine here. Nice and aware through the head and the neck. And then exhale, we'll let that foot go. Bring the hand back to your mat. We'll tuck the right toes under and start to lift the right knee away from the mat so that we can lift the hips and step that left foot back to meet the right. Find your downward facing dog, pedal out the feet, check in with the spine. Again, you might need to wiggle those hips out a little bit here, so taking a couple of circles of the hips. And then on an exhale, we'll sink the hips down towards our mat and find our wide-legged child's pose. So we'll walk the big toes together, bring the knees as wide as your yoga mat, and then sink the hips down towards the heels, reaching the arms forward and letting the forehead come to rest down on the mat. Really pressing those hips down here, reaching through the arms. So we're still nice and active here in our child's pose. You might like to rock a little bit side to side here. Close down the eyes and come back to the breath. And then slowly we'll come back to all fours, back to our tabletop. And we'll make our way back through seated. So cross one heel over the other. Make your way back to seated. And then we're going to come all the way back to lie down. So keep the knees bent when you get there. Lying back. Take a moment to get comfortable. Close down the eyes. And then we're going to find our happy baby or our half happy baby. So we're going to lift the sole of that right foot up towards the sky, and then see if you can take that right hand and catch a hold of that right foot. So you might need to do some adjusting here. If you've got a strap or something that you can wrap around that foot, then you might like to grab that. And then lifting the sole of that right foot up towards the sky, hugging that right knee down towards the right armpit. And you might like to stay here in this half variation and then switching to the other side. Or you might see if you can lift the left foot up towards the sky and catch a hold of that left foot with the other hand, and then send both feet up towards the sky, drawing the knees in. See if you can keep the shoulders hugging down towards your mat here. You might want to find a little bit of movement, so maybe rocking a little bit side to side, really opening up the hips. Stay with the breath. And if you're taking your half variation, you might like to release through the right leg and take it to the other side. You might like to try lengthening through the legs. Just finding any gentle movement. And then slowly we'll release through the legs, bring the soles of the feet back down towards your mat. You might like to catch a hold of the knees here and just draw a couple of circles with the legs again. As we start to unwind and make our way to our final resting posture, our Shavasana. So when you're ready, we'll send the legs out nice and long. Send the arms out to either side. Getting out any little wigglies, so any movement that you still feel like you need in your body, feel free to do that now so that you can come to a place of stillness in your Shavasana. Closing down the eyes and becoming really still here. Letting the breath return to normal. Feel free to stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you would like to. So if you'd like to stay a little bit longer, you can pause the video here. Otherwise, I'm going to leave you in your Shavasana and we can close our practice together. So thank you very much for joining me for this practice today. And I hope you have an amazing day ahead of you. Namaste.